You can only lose weight in a calorie deficit, right? So you've got two options, yeah? Let's just say you're in shape, you go to the gym, you work. Say your maintenance is vaping whilst walking, I guess. That makes sense, doesn't it? Talking about fitness and I'm blowing that. Say your maintenance is 3,000 calories a day. And we know there's 3,500 calories in 1 pound of fat. So 500 times 7, 3,500. So if we're in a 500 calorie deficit every day, we will lose a pound of fat. So if your maintenance, the amount of calories you consume to maintain your metabolic rate, your TDE, going to the gym, say your maintenance is 3,000 calories, right? You got a choice. You can drop the calories by consuming less food to 2,500 calories, or you can get your steps up and burn an additional 500 calories, which means your calories can stay at 3,000 or higher if you do more. Just for an example, that's not a set in stone, that number equals this number. This is going to depend on yourself, your current metabolism, which is largely dictated by muscle mass and daily movement. So the choice is yours. Personally myself, I'd rather move more and eat a bit more instead of dropping the food. At a certain point of leanness, you're going to have to, or striving for a certain point of leanness, shall I say, you're going to have to bring the food down potentially, do you know what I mean? There's only so much you can move, but people underestimate how much they can actually train themselves to eat when they move a lot more and eat a lot more of the right foods and build some muscle mass. You know, I'd rather that than myself than starve myself. And anyone that starves themselves, right, how sustainable is that? Let's be real for 2 minutes. Yeah, how sustainable is starving yourself for the long run? And it always leads to binging. Even in myself, and I've done it in the past. It's ridiculous, you know. Go to the gym for like an hour and a half, so train with someone else, and we both put our hours in. It takes a bit more time when there's two of you. Get about 20,000 steps a day, and I'm cutting body fat comfortably at 74 kilos, 5'6" tall, 165 centimeters, and I'm on most days anywhere from 3,000 to 3,200. Sometimes on the odd cheat day, if I'm having a bit more, I'm doing a bit more, I'll still get the steps in, I'll still get the hour and a half in the gym, might get 25,000 steps on a said day like that, and I'll eat 4,000 calories, and I'm dropping body fat, probably around 12% fat, heading towards 10% fat now. Do you know what I mean? That's what I want people to think about for a minute, instead of starving yourself. And anyone that's done it in the past, you know yourself, when the food comes down, your energy comes down, your daily movement comes down, and everybody does this way too early on. I'm not saying that point isn't necessary for some people with some goals at some time, but starting with that as your first tool in the box, where do you go from there? The amount of people I know that's just gone straight to 1,500 calories a day, and it's like, dude, your metabolic rate might only be a couple hundred under that, or maybe even over that, depending, you know. And you're starving yourself, you're miserable, and then the next thing you know, binge. You know what I mean? 10 tubs of Ben and Jerry's and a whole pizza, like, gone. Do you know what I mean? And then you've eaten your week back in one. Do you know what I mean? And it's when you bring your metabolism that low and slow, you know, you rebound a lot faster out of that, and it always goes wrong for people. So just consider the food you're eating, the amount of movement you're doing. Bearing in mind, protein, for example, has a much higher thermic effect than carbohydrates and fats. Carbohydrates have more of a thermic effect than fats, you know. So I'm not saying fats are bad. You need them. You need your good fats. That cannot be compromised on under any circumstances. You need a certain amount of healthy fats to function, and that's, you know, you need it for brain health, heart health, skin health. You need your fats. But yeah, once you've hit your protein target, and you've hit your carbohydrate target depending on what you're doing, and you've hit your protein target, you've hit your fats because they're essential. The only room you've got left with the calories left on the chart is carbohydrates. Sweet potato, white rice, it's going to be your best bet. But if you can fit a bit of chocolate in there, you can fit a cake in there, why not? If you're moving and you're getting the steps in and everything else is healthy in your diet, why can't that little percentage of the calories left entail some junk food? Why not? If you can lose weight doing that, how more likely are you to stick at that versus starving yourself on chicken breast with no seasoning on it and a bit of broccoli? Like, realistically, how sustainable is that going into the long run? From experience, it isn't. So I'll leave it at that, guys. It's always calories in and it's always calories out. So if you burn more than you bring in, you will lose fat. You keep the protein high, train for strength, train for some size. It's that simple. Walk more, eat the right foods, more of the right foods, track your calories, and weigh yourself every week. Find out where your maintenance is and then play from there. And once you've learned that, it's there for life. Once you've learned that information and you've figured it out in yourself, smooth sailing. Take care, guys. That'll do.